Hey there, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new around here, well, my name is Mac and I'm a leadership coach, but I actually work specifically with first-time team managers and helping them to become effective leaders. And today what I wanted to do was answer some of the questions that you guys have sent over to me over the last couple of months in one succinct video. So one of the first questions that I wanted to address is the question that I've gotten quite a few times, which is, where have you been, Mac? It's been a while. And I actually thought it would be odd to save this to the very end because I'm a huge believer of just calling out the elephant in the room. And so for those of you that are subscribed to the community, then you know that I haven't been around on YouTube for the past couple of months. And that's just because the channel needed to take a little bit of a breather so that we could focus on some other things. Over the past couple of months, my world has expanded quite a bit between, bringing on new team members to support the growth. Actually, I'd like to welcome one of our newest team members, Kaylee, to the group. And also, having the privilege of training a lot of managers around the globe. It's just been a lot. And I wanted to make sure that I could be fully focused on, some of our clients as well as all of our students to make sure that they're getting the best of the best support. And so that's kind of why the channel has taken a breather. The other reason that it's taken a breather, and this is actually relevant for you, is because my signature program, the New Manager Accelerator program, has just gone through a complete overhaul. So one of my goals last year was to really take NMA to the next level. I've been running the program for about 2 years, and I've just been itching to make some changes to it, and so I didn't know where to start. So I decided to actually bring on a team of experts, instructional designers, to really just tear it apart and give me a lot of feedback in terms of how I can make this the best program that it could be for all of you. And so I did that. And it was an experience, but essentially for those of you that maybe don't know, what instructional designers are. So instructional designers are basically professionals who understand the science behind learning, and they help you ensure that everything that you're teaching, everything that you're training people on hits learner objectives, which is basically just a fancy way of saying they make sure that the way that you're training ensures that people have successful outcomes. But like I said, the experience was it was pretty interesting. And I have to say, it's been a long time since I've felt so so overwhelmed and in out of my depth. It's been a while. But the experience was worth it. It was definitely worth it because now I know, right, for certain that I have something that is life-changing for those of you that, take advantage of it. And so I'm really excited that I did it, which I think is a lesson to, remember, because I'm always telling you guys, it's important to step out of your comfort zone. It's important to step out of my comfort zone. And I know that to be true, but it's been a while since I've had to really do that. And so it was a good reminder for me as well that, hey, once you step out of your comfort zone and do some really hard things, on the other side of that is some pretty awesome stuff. And so just another quick reminder for you on that, right? Which is continue to step out of your comfort zone. It's so, so worth it. And for those of you that have been sitting on the fence about joining the Accelerator program, I want you to know that this is the time to do so, right? Because literally this program has been designed for you, with you in mind, with a group of experts. As well. And so you already know the deal. If you're interested in, leveling up in your career as a manager, then definitely book a call with me using the link in the description box below. All right, so let's move on to the next question that I've gotten quite a few times, which is this aspect of struggling with being too assertive. And I'm looking down because I'm just looking at my notes. I want to make sure that I catch everything. But yeah, I've had a lot of you reach out and say, hey, I don't know how to ensure that I'm not coming off too assertively. And I guess I did do a video on this last year on, being more assertive, I think it was, which I'll link for you here and in the description box below. But I clearly underestimated how much I had put here, how much of you guys are struggling with the perception of coming off too assertive, which is interesting because to me, in my opinion, I don't think that you could be too assertive, you know, because to me, being assertive is simply just a dialogue of expressing your needs and your wants. I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, if what you think is the problem is that people maybe are calling you blunt or abrasive or far too direct, then maybe that's just more of a problem of the delivery and not necessarily being assertive, right? Because assertive is a dialogue. So if people are really just complaining about you being engaged in a dialogue of articulating your needs and your wants, then that's a them problem, not a you problem. But if you're hearing over and over again that, hey, like maybe you're a little bit abrasive, or maybe you can be a little bit quote unquote like not as direct, although you know what, I don't think being a direct is an issue. But anyways, if you're hearing that maybe the delivery is the issue, then I will say this, that's communication stuff that takes a little bit of time and practice. You will get better. The fact that you're aware of it is helpful, because then you can temper, you know, a little bit of what you say and make sure that it's seasoned with salt, so that it is palatable to the person on the receiving end. But the other thing I think that is important is something that my supervisor did that I thought was amazing. So she was actually considered on the team as being someone that was a little bit like on the direct side, or a little bit blunt is the word I would say. And I personally didn't think that about her. But I think it's because I really appreciate super direct people. I love that. I personally love that, but I know it's not for everybody. And so yeah, some of our team members, you know, had said, hey, like Onyx is a little bit blunt in the way that she says things. And so she took that into consideration. And what I really liked about what she did was she didn't necessarily like change who she was. Yes, she like tempered her communication and she improved on her communication, but she remained who she was. She remained being a direct person. And the way that she was able to like balance that was by really leading into moments of connection with her team. And so I always tell the students, like one of the first things that she would do in the morning is like literally walk around to everybody and say hello. And she would ask them, how you doing? And she would remember like personal aspects of them that like nobody else on the team would remember. And she would do that because she wanted to demonstrate to them that, hey, like I care about you as a human. And so if I say something that might come off direct, know that my intention is because I care about you. And I thought that was a really good way of balancing it out. And so if you feel as though your team members are saying, hey, like Cassie or Susie or whatever, you know, I always use Susie, but hey, Susie, if, you know, I feel like you're a little bit direct when you talk to me, then make sure that you are allowing space to really like connect with your team members so that they know where you're coming from, right? And that they understand that your intention isn't to attack them, it's to help them, it's to support them, it's to facilitate success. And they're less likely to feel, you know, hurt or a little bit like stung by what you're saying, and more so focus on the message. Okay, so that's kind of my tip on that one. Okay, so the next question that came in that I thought was good, and I was like, I can't believe I haven't done a video on this on the channel before, but this is perfect timing. So the question is, what should your first group speech be to address your team for the very first time? Again, cannot believe I have not done this, but I think a couple of notes for having this type of meeting is that you want to start out by thanking them, first of all, for their support during the transition. I'm the type of person that likes to like assume people's support because it puts in their mind the right thing as opposed to putting in their mind the wrong thing. So right from the get-go in this conversation, or when you have this team meeting, I should say, you want to just thank everybody. Hey, thank you so much for your support as we get through this transition. I know it's a transitional period and it can be hard on all of us. And so I just want to thank you for your support. It means a lot to me. And then you can roll in with the trajectory of your career. I always think it's nice to know a little bit about your manager and where they've come from. Not necessarily like where they've come from on the globe, though you're free to share that if you want, but how did they get to this point in their career, right? I think it's really nice for your team members to understand a little bit about you. So can you share with them a little bit about your career trajectory? And then the next thing that you can do is give them a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Now, I've seen in the past that some people have said, hey, like I'm thinking of setting expectations. And I personally don't believe in that, because I think, like, for me, you set expectations when you understand things. So I want to make sure that you are taking the time to actually understand things before you set expectations. So in the meeting, when I say you want to give people a preview of things to come, what you could do is let them know what they can expect of you. So not necessarily what you expect of them, but what they should expect of you. So what is it that you're going to be doing over the next little while? Are you going to be listening, learning? Are you going to be setting up meetings with each one of them so that you can get to know them better? Are you going to be shadowing them so that you understand the inner workings of the team? Like, what is it that they should expect from you? Ambiguity is one of the worst things to us as human beings in general. And ambiguity after change can be really difficult. And so if you can just quell some of that a little bit by giving people a preview of what's to come, that would be really great. So jot down, obviously, exactly what you plan on doing, and then share that with the team. And then the other thing too that I think is important, and I wrote this down, is that you should let them know essentially like the best way for them to communicate with you. I always think it's nice because, well, they don't know you and they're going to try and figure you out. So the more information that you can give them from the very beginning so that they don't have to try and figure you out, the better. So if they need something, should they email you? Should they come to you, knock on your door? Should they, just put a time on your calendar to meet with you? What should they do so that they can communicate with you? Because during this transition phase, it's going to be hard. And they're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a lot of questions. And so what is the best way or mechanism with which the two of you will keep in touch, and the way that you will demonstrate your support to them during this transition? So just let them know the best way to communicate with you. And that's pretty much it. And then just wrap up by like saying thank you. If you think it's appropriate, do a little bit of a team building connection type exercise to facilitate conversation. But if you don't think that's necessary, that's totally fine. Just wrap it up there and just be genuine about it. I mean, I honestly think that you could probably say pretty much anything in this conversation, and as long as you're genuine, you'll be okay. Because what really matters is the individual conversations that you have with your team members after the fact. I think that the introductory team meeting is almost like you do it because you have to, but it's not necessarily what's going to make the difference. It's the individual conversations that you have after the fact, which I want you to have within at least the first 1 or 2 weeks, so that people know you and they get to understand that you genuinely care about them. Okay, so we got another great question here, which is a question around a team that isn't engaging with you. It says, what if the team you're going into does not talk much? So you're sending them questions to start a team building game, but there's no replies. You have started a team chat, again, no replies. This is getting ready for the week following up to you taking over their team. Okay, so I think the question is essentially like, what do you do when you have a team that isn't necessarily like engaging with you? I think that's basically what the question is. So here's what I'll say. I tend to not like to operate under assumptions. I just think assumptions leads us down some pretty bad paths. And I don't want to lead you down a path without understanding like the full picture of why this is happening. And so the best advice that I can give you is to just ask them. They're the source. They're the ones that are not engaging. And so just ask them, hey, y'all, I set up this this chat, and I reach out to foster some communication and some bonding between all of us, and it's not happening. And so I'd love to hear from y'all why that's the case. If perhaps I'm not doing it in the right way that's like reaching y'all, or if I'm doing it in a way that's at a bad time or a stressful time, just ask. And based on what they say, then you can actually charter out the best way forward, because anything else that I would say might or might not work because I don't know the reason why they're not engaging, right? It could be anything. And like I said, the best people to ask would be them. That way you know without a doubt, and that way you can deal with it. Okay? So I hope that answered your question. So that is pretty much it in terms of some of the questions that I received. I received a lot more, but I think what I'm going to do is like bundle them together every once in a while, and then do a Q&A or do a answering your questions session every once in a while where I bundle it together and then answer some of the questions. Anyways, it's honestly great to be back with you guys. It's been a while, but we've got some great fresh content coming your way. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. All right, take care. Bye.